Hey everyone, Shelley here. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about weight loss, but more specifically I'm going to be talking about calorie deficit. So in most cases every situation is different depending on the person, because we are all individuals, and that's not just our personalities, our bodies actually work individually as well, and they're all unique and we all have different ways of processing food. But calorie deficit is basically when we are eating less than what we are expending, or moving or exercising. So expenditure doesn't just come in the form of exercise, it's when we are doing housework. When we are sitting here, I am still expending because I'm moving my arms. I'm sitting upright, I'm not laying down. The only time we are expending at a very, very low level is when we are sleeping, but every other time you're fidgeting and moving, you're expending. Calorie deficit is when we are eating less than what we're expending. And that is basically one of the number one ways to lose weight if you are just starting out in weight loss and you don't really know why you're not losing any weight and you're exercising heaps or you're eating not really much. It's probably because that expenditure is still a bit lower than your calorie deficit. So your calorie intake being everything that you eat. You want it to be the other way around. So basically I'm going to go through these terms a little bit more, and I'm also going to explain exactly what calorie deficit is and how you can do it, and how my calorie deficit might be different to your calorie deficit. So first off, I just want to go a little bit more into how we are all different. So for example, me myself, I work at a gym, but I also work at my desk. I exercise every day, but I don't exercise as much as some other people do. I am only small, I'm only short, and I'm quite petite. So the amount of food that I can eat to be in calorie deficit is much different to, for example, a male who may only work in an office. Even though he is exercising less, he might still be able to eat more because of his build, his size, his height, his muscles. All of that makes a massive difference. Whereas also someone who is out and being a labourer would have a higher calorie intake than what someone that is, like I said, an office person that is sitting down all day. If you do have an office job, usually you have to make up that expenditure in other ways after work, or even during work. There's little pedal bikes that you can get and stuff like that go under your desk, or you have to have a lower intake than someone who's the exact same height as you, exact same width as you, exact same everything else as you, but does a different job to you. So the difference between what I'm about to tell you and what happens when a lot of people that are trying to lose weight go to most personal trainers or nutritionists is they say to you, or they look on Google, the average female intake is such and such number, and they think, okay, well I have to be eating that amount, even if they are eating too much and more of that amount, or they're not even quite reaching that amount yet. They're like, all right, that's what I should be eating. No, that's not right. It depends on how physical you are and your body type. Even things whether you're female or male make a massive difference in this. And I'm going to explain exactly why. So when I take on a client and they tell me that one of their main goals is weight loss, I have a very in-depth look at their actual exercise. I can either do this by getting them to wear an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or something that literally tracks how much they are moving every day, which is probably the easiest way, or I can do it manually, which takes a bit longer but still gets the job done. And same with their calorie intake, I get them to note down absolutely everything that they eat, and then we can compare the two and see whether this is before I tell them what to eat and what not to eat to help with the weight loss, just see how they are at this very stage in time. And we can see there whether they're eating more than what they're expending, which is usually the case. Even if they're just having breakfast, lunch and dinner, like the foods that they are eating might have a massive effect. And let's just make up a client for now. Let's say that Julie down the street, she burns about 2,000 calories a day and she wants to lose weight. That means that we want to aim for her eating at least 500 calories less per day than what she burns, because the reason for such a big jump is that she might sometimes miscalculate her food. So she thinks that she's eating 500 calories less than what she's expending, but really she might only be eating 250 less than what she's expending. So if we made that she's only eating 250 less than what she's expending, she might actually end up eating the same amount as what she is expending because she's miscalculating what she's eating. We don't always get that 100% accurate, especially if you do not have kitchen scales or the specific amounts, or sometimes even just converting from kilojoules to calories. Some people might make a mistake on that as well. So we want to aim for that 500 less. And the other reason for that is that some days, and maybe multiple days in a row, Julie might not exercise or expend as much as she usually does. She might have missed out on the gym, she might have had less work to do, she might have not done as much housework, or gone to bed earlier. There's all these different situations where she might not have expended as much as what I saw in her test. Over the 3 days, she might have done a lot more in those 3 days than what she usually does. So in case she's miscalculated and she's not expending as much as what we thought, we want to make sure that we really hit that target to at least be 100 to 200 calories less per day. Now, in order to lose a kilo a week, you want to be aiming for at least 500 calories per day over the 7 days, and that will equal close to a kilo a week. And then you don't want to be losing any more than a kilo than that a week, because then that becomes harmful and it's not good for you, and then it's harder to maintain. You want to be able to maintain this new lifestyle and new everything. So now that we know that Julie from down the street, she can only have 1,500 calories per day, we look at her food and we see how much she's eating at the moment. And before even judging her on what kinds of food she's eating, and yes, we know that that does have a massive effect. If you're eating 1,500 calories a day, but you're still only eating Maccas for breakfast, lunch and dinner, you're not going to get the best results, and your body is not going to be healthy for it all over. However, we're just going to take this one step at a time, because we've realize that when we change too many things at once, it becomes harder for them to maintain as well. So step number one, we just see how much she's eating regardless of what she's eating, and we're going to cut that down to 1,500 a day. So she might have been eating 2,000 a day or 1,700 a day, and we work out which parts of her lifestyle she's happy to, okay, I won't be having those snack chips anymore, those lollies before bed, the ice cream every night, whatever it is that we want to cut down and get rid of. Then we let her go for a week or two, just getting used to eating 1,500 a day. The thing is that when you're used to eating 2,000 calories a day, your stomach is about this big, and you don't feel full until you eat the 2,000 calories that you're used to eating. So what we need to do is that we have to get used to our stomach only having 1,500 calories a day. So every day that when you first start, every day you might feel a little bit hungry. You're this much full, you feel a little bit hungry over here, but your stomach shrinks. Over a couple of days, you start getting used to having 1,700 calories a day, and you only feel a little bit less hungry, but then your stomach shrinks again. And then eventually, over the next couple of weeks, 1,500 calories actually fills you up, because your stomach has shrunk to get used to 1,500 calories, and that 1,500 calories helps you feel full. The same thing happens when you overeat. When you're used to having 1,500 calories and you decide to eat a bit more that day, you feel really full, you feel really bloated, but then your stomach expands. And then you have that more than 1,500 calories again, and you still feel really full. You get a bit of a belly ache, you have that yucky feeling in your stomach, but then your stomach expands, and then you don't feel full until you eat that full 2,000 calories again. So your stomach is quite flexible, it moves and it grows or shrinks with you and what diet you're specifically on. So when you first start this calorie deficit, you might feel hungry, and that's completely normal. But as your stomach shrinks and becomes used to and to the correct size of that 1,500 a day, then you'll be completely fine, and you won't feel that hungry feeling every day like you used to, and you'll get used to it, and it'll be like second nature. You actually won't want to eat past that 1,500 calories, because that's when you'll start to get that sickening full feeling, because your stomach isn't at that old capacity that it was before. So in saying that, now that you understand what happens in that aspect, and you get used to eating that 1,500 calories a day over the next couple of weeks, and you're not having a hungry feeling anymore, and you're feeling quite good, and you'll notice, even if you're still eating the not so good foods, that you are starting to lose weight, because you are in calorie deficit, and that's what calorie deficit does. But you'll get to a point eventually, and let's just forget about all the other side effects of not eating healthy, like diabetes and high cholesterol and everything else. Let's just pretend that this is based on just the food itself and calorie deficit itself. Once you actually start getting into that weight loss, and then you've got a good system going, and you're happy, you're losing weight, but then all of a sudden it starts to slow down. You're still eating 1,500 calories a day, but you notice that, and you're still expending 2,000 calories a day, but you've noticed that that weight loss kind of has mellowed. That is partially to do with your metabolism and the way that the effects of that, getting used to that, is happening, but it is also now focused on the kinds of foods you're eating. So the next step after getting used to that part would be to change your diet and going into healthier foods. But that I'll get to you guys in a new video. I just wanted to explain calorie deficit for weight loss in this one. I hope you guys have a better understanding of calorie deficit and how that can help you lose weight. Feel free to put any questions that you have in the comments, or message me personally. You can add me on Instagram and Facebook. My page is Get Started Fitness. This is one of my first videos. I'm still trying to figure out how to put them on the screen. So if not, Get Started Fitness, and you'll see my logo there. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.